first step, somewhere quasi in attraction. Next step back, opening. You're opening. The mistakes you're making in your opening is why that's happening. Somewhere between opening and attraction, that's why you're getting that particular thing. Don't even look at what you did right before she had to go to the bathroom, because it's probably too late. It's probably inconsequential. But your opening, are you looking over and staring at her and then shuffling and fidgeting and then walking over and looking down? That will cause that to happen, because from her perspective, she says, oh God, this guy, all right, I'll talk to him for like a minute and then I'll find a reason to leave. And she talks to you for a minute. You might even make her laugh. And then she's like, oh, yeah, time, a bathroom. I got to go. And she leaves. And you think, oh, man, I can't make girls laugh. Oh, that's bad. They walk away. Don't look at what happened directly before that. Look at the problem, the core of the problem. Even though you guys aren't going to be perfect at this, the first time you do this, the first few times, the first few dozen times you do this, doing it is going to make you better at it, and doing it is going to give you some broad idea of where you're at. But the problem is that nobody does this. Nobody does this. Everyone just, at the best, goes out and hopes that they will automatically fix their sticking points. Their sticking points will just fix themselves. It doesn't work like that. Unless you get really lucky, that's not how that happens. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys, when you get home, is to write down and prioritize your top 3 sticking points. And for each one of those, I want you to brainstorm, how do I eliminate them? How do I fix them? What do I do to solve that problem? Because what a lot of you guys don't realize is that when you ask a coach, how do you solve the problem? If he's a good coach, a lot of times he asks, how do you think you should solve the problem? And you say, oh, I think I should do this, this, and this. And guess what the answer is? This, this, and this. A lot of the answers you guys have already. You just have to do them. You have to do that brainstorming process. When there's something that comes up, say financially, and say I can't afford it. There's a coaching program that I want to take, okay, for wealth building for finances. And it's a coaching program, and it costs $80,000. That's a lot of money for anybody. $80,000. It'd be real easy for me to say, oh, that's too expensive. I can't do it. But that would also be a poverty mentality. That would be a loser mentality. I don't say, I can't afford it. I say, what do I take a sheet of paper out, and I say, what do I have to do to make this happen? $80,000 broken up over 12 months, all of a sudden not that expensive. Now we're talking, what, 8,000 maybe? Maybe probably less than that. About 6,000 to 7,000 a month. Still a lot of money. What can I do to make an extra 6,000 or 7,000? Again, a lot. That's not a small amount of money, but it can be done. What do I have to do over a week's time frame to make 1,500? 1,500 this week, 1,500 next week. Even if you guys are in corporate jobs, even if you guys don't have your own thing, there are things that you can do to make that happen. All of my friends are in the 8-figure range, and they look at me like the poor kid. Like, what are you doing? Why are you making such little money? And you know what? That motivates me, because I don't think in a poverty mentality. I think in abundance. Even if I can't afford something, I don't say, I can't afford it. I say, how can I afford it? What do I have to do to make this happen? That's how I've made things happen. Some of you guys have even asked, Fuji, how did you start your business? You don't advertise at all. You are a moron. You have no advertising. You don't even have an email list. And I'm sorry for those of you guys that work with me, but I still don't have one. Why? What's wrong with you? And I will fully admit that that is something I need to work on.
Disclaimer, they used to be me too.
Yes.
Back in the day, not anymore.
But how did you even create a business that works? How did that even function? And it's because when I ran into a roadblock, I said, what do I need to do to make this happen? I didn't say, oh, this is too hard. I'm going to give up. This is systematic sticking points applied not to pickup, but to your lives. And everything that you do, you have sticking points. You have blind spots. Fix them, and things will change. Take your top 3 sticking points, develop that plan to eliminate them. All right, step 3. This is the key point. This is why things don't happen. Step 3 is called hacking motivation. Because as we said, motivation is finite. And it sucks. Because a lot of people don't want to admit that. Your motivation, your willpower is finite. So what I'm going to do is give you guys a series of tactics that I use to hack motivation. Because mine, just like yours, is finite. But there are certain things you can do to change that around. Okay? The first one is blood sugar. Research has shown that when your blood sugar drops, your sense of motivation goes out the goddamn window. Which is also why when you're really hungry and you're on a diet, what do you eat? Crap. Really easy to eat celery sticks when you're not hungry, right? When you're just like, oh, I just had my healthy meal. I'll snack on some celery sticks. When you haven't eaten for 12 hours, what do? Oh, we'll just stop by McDonald's on the way home. It'll be cool. Your sense of motivation, your sense of willpower and discipline goes out the window. Keep your blood sugar up. When your blood sugar is up or is at least at normal levels, your sense of motivation becomes a lot easier to control, to implement. Another way, that goal setting process. Make sure you take your goals, which are very abstract, very broad goals, and we condense them. Take your goals and condense them into individual steps that you can do. Your goal should not be make a lot of money. Your goal should be make $10,000 a month, make $20,000 a month, make a certain amount, and then it should be broken down even more. How do I do that? What are 5 steps I should take to actually make that happen? And set deadlines on that. If you guys haven't watched the 21 convention from 2010 in Orlando, that is exactly what I went into. Breaking down your goals and accomplishing them. That's how you get things done. You set a deadline, even if it's something arbitrary. Like, I want to make $500,000. That seems like, it's so far in the future. I'm still in college. Set a deadline. Say, you know what? In 5 years after I graduate, I want to make $500,000 a year. Set a deadline. Because if you don't set a deadline, that date will creep up on you. And pretty soon, it'll be 5 years. And you'll still make $40,000. And you'll say, what happened to all of the years? They crept up on you. Set a deadline and do those goals. Break them down and accomplish them. That's how a lot of motivation, a lot of the New Year's resolutions don't happen because we have these broad goals and we think willpower alone is going to fix them. And they don't. You got to break these down. You got to schedule them. Another thing that works really well for me, make your goals public. Anything that you want to do, make it public. Put it out there so that there's a lot of pressure on you when you don't get them done. You want to do something by a certain date, make it public. Tell everyone, put it on your Facebook, put it out there. So there's a lot of pressure on you to make sure that that happens. Another thing that works for me is external pain or a fear of loss motivators. A lot of you guys are also motivated by that. So use that to your advantage. Let's say, for example, that you're going out and you're approaching and you're not doing the approaches that you need to. You're not doing the quantity or any number of things that you need to do. You go out with a wingman and you give him $200 or 200 pounds. And you say, these are the steps that I have to do. If I don't do those, that's yours. Don't be nice either. Keep it. That night, you will do those things, I guarantee. You will make those things happen. Because all of a sudden, it's a fear of loss. Doesn't even really have to be 200, but that's a very effective number for most of us. If you have a lot of money, give him 2,000. Give him 20,000. He'll be in fact, I'll be your friend. I'll be like, just give it to me. And don't do your stuff. Just don't do it. Do whatever it's going to take to make that happen for you. Figure out what motivates you, okay? For some of you guys, it isn't money. For some of you guys, it's embarrassment. For some of you guys, it's a fear of someone finding out or someone thinking poorly of you. Do the same thing. For me, a lot of times, when I was out by myself, I would think, oh man, I can't approach. But I was more afraid at that point of other people thinking I was a pussy than approaching. So I'd go up to random guys and I'd be like, man, that girl's really hot, huh? And he'd say, yeah. And I would say, I want to talk to her, but I'm such a pussy. And he'd be like, no, man, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Tell me I am, please. And he'd be like, you're a pussy. I'd be like, fuck you. I'd walk up. Okay? That was motivation for me. I knew exactly what motivated me. So I used that to my advantage. figure out what motivates you. I'll tell you an area, for me, where I lack massive amounts of discipline and motivation, and that is waking up when I don't need to.